Hello, everybody. Episode 449 in the building. Following up 448 AI. We're going to be covering it. I'm your host, Armen Shirvanian. As always, this is the Armen Show. Since, I believe, late 2017, we continue forward. We've got the books in the background, spirit in the air. Let's get into some of the material we'll be talking about. So I've been using AI quite a bit. Artificial intelligence. You can use Claude, ChatGPT, Gemini, whatever sources. A lot of people are using these chatbots, large language models behind the scenes. I'm going to talk about some of my usages of it and how it's benefited. Maybe it'll benefit you in some way. The listener, we've got the listener in the audience. AI isn't just a topic I explore, it's a tool I actually live with daily now. From fixing minor life friction to making smarter decisions, it's woven into how I operate. That is a message about what I'll be covering today. Let's get into topic one. Glad to have you all on here. Long live the program. Organizing files and tasks. It's really good for this. I've used it in many ways. You put in a screenshot. You send a screenshot. You use the camera feature if you're using ChatGPT. You can sort through your documents very easily. This could be files and folders on your computer, your email. Maybe your email has never been organized. You can put labels on it and filters. If you've already done these things a long time ago, that's great. If you have not, what an opportunity. You can send a picture. Oh, here's 4 pages of my emails. ChatGPT can look at it and say, okay, this is the 4 or 5 categories or 6 that are common to you. Let's put these labels on them, filter out all your content into these groups. Now when you get new emails, they don't look like a jumble, and you can color code them as well, and it can give you suggestions on what colors to use. Now your emails are coming in clearly. You know what you're getting. That's pretty helpful. That's a tool right there. I've used it also for files and folders. You can get file summaries. What kinds of stuff is in here? How do I sort this folder and the subfolders? This is the picture of the files in it. Where can I put what? What changes should I make? Oh, you might want to put these in your book folder. You might want to put these in your podcast folder. You might want to move these photos to your photos section. They don't really belong here. These documents, you can adjust them slightly or change the name and put them in your documents folder here. You start getting order and structure if you didn't have it as much before. Very useful and can give you insight on things you might not have noticed for 10 years if you were doing it on your own. But thanks to the resource, it is available currently. AI helps to externalize your mental model, turning chaos into clarity without burning cognitive cycles. You don't have to use all your mental processing. You have to think about the bigger picture decisions and what you want to do, and now the friction of the steps is reduced. This is a big deal for someone that is a doer, a maker, creative, lively, full of spirit, optimistic. This is a big deal. If you have a lot of ideas, thoughts, ways to do things you want to do, you like to have things sorted before you do something, highly beneficial in that way. You can have a hierarchy of folders and files. You can tag in a folder or tag pictures with a description of whatever means something to you. You can start to get more order in what you're doing, which is cool. Next topic here we've got is around the house intelligence. So you're trying to reset a device, fix something with your router, automate something, connect with your oven, fix something like, oh, I want to use a surge protector differently. Where should I plug things in? What's the best way to do things? Gardening tips. So these are all around the house. This is like having a second brain for domestic life, a conversational handyman or planner. You could send a picture of a surge protector. Okay, I have these items. I want to plug them in here. Should I get a second surge protector? Is there a better way to plug these in? Is there a better surge protector I should be using? How can I manage these cables more smoothly? Which ones don't I need? Could I replace something? Is there a useful way that this cable is not needed? You might find out a suggestion that you wouldn't have even thought of prior. And then once you use the service, boom. Oh, okay, this resolves that. Now your cables are sorted more nicely. Helpful. Let's say garden. Oh, what can I do with this space? Could I put flowers? Could I put herbs? Could I put something to get rid of bugs? Oh, okay, here's a picture. Maybe you want to put this and this here. Suddenly you have all these extra suggestions, more than you might come up with on your own. Highly valuable. And the only way to do that is to put in a lot of information, as I've mentioned before. The more information you put in, the better the feedback you're going to get out. That's the best way to do it. Your router. I want to reset my router. I want to update it. Can I update it? Search. Boom. This is the thing. Here's a picture of it. Oh, this is what you can do. This is how you reset it. You might have to return it and get a different one. This all comes from you checking on it. And the important part is the feedback back and forth. So it's not just a search, but it's a conversation where you're getting insight. And if you need more insight for some topic, you could do extended search for that on any of the platforms. Automation is good when possible. Handling complex forms and document submission. So you want to fill out some documentation. You want to do something related to your vehicle or your home or a lease agreement or selling something to someone. Boom, you go online and now you do the search. What do I need for this? What do I need to fill out for this? What forms do I need? It goes boom, 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 boom. You say, well, I have this, this, and this. Oh, okay. Here's the form. You want to fill this out? You could take a picture of yourself filling out the form. Say, here's what I got. Is this good? You get feedback on, yes, okay, that's filled out right, but you need to put this information here. Suddenly, the form filling process, you don't have to, if there's usually 3 or 4 things that would make you stuck, they won't make you stuck anymore because this takes out the friction. It'll answer the questions along the way if you're one of those people like myself who would get stuck on things along the way, and takes care of the what would your fellow people tell you at that step type information. And so if you have a goal-oriented nature, this is super good because the friction is reduced, and then now you can move on to the next, and you're resolving things rapidly because you have this assistant in place. It can tell you about what to put in the PDF, if there's a file, how to understand what it's actually asking for. Should I fill in this address or the other address? It can tell you which one is probably the right idea based on which department you're communicating with, so you send the right information to the right people. You wouldn't normally be able to do checks on that. You'd have to check one by one by one, but now you can send the whole thing and say, is this on the right track? That's a pretty big deal, I think. This could be for relating to the DMV, could be a healthcare paperwork, a business form, any of those. Very useful in that regard. In this case, artificial intelligence flattens out the sharp edges of life administration. It's like moving from lack of action in that, so a lot of friction, to flow. Very good on that one. This one I slightly mentioned earlier, but email organization and decision making, big deal. So you can organize your emails, like I said before, but you can also use it to message or modify the messaging you have been sending. So you could put in, hey, here's the emails I have been sending. Is this good? Am I missing anything? Should I adjust these messages so that everything is covered well? Is there a better way to write this so that it gets my points across and it doesn't overdo or over-represent some concept? Adjusting your messages is a big deal. If top level communication isn't your default, you can get to that point by saying, hey, this is what I sent. Is there a better way? Can there be a better way? There might not, but there may be. So you can adjust your message, and next thing you know, your messages are shorter or cleaner or clearer to the reader. That's a good one right there. It gives you some clarity on your incoming. So it's very good for organizing incoming emails or messages or anything like that as well. Our next topic, we've got local discovery and lifestyle boosting. This is great. I've mentioned this previously, but finding new cafes, work spots, hikes. You put in information about you, where you are, what you want to be doing, your qualities, what's important to you. And you say, can you find me places that fit these details to go to? And here you go. Boom. It'll let you know this is the good cafe to go to do the kind of work you want to do. This is a good museum for the kind of art you want to look at. These are a few examples, if you go in this area, that you can examine. That is highly useful. Now your trip is super organized if you go to an area, or even for your area, and you'll find places you didn't even know of. Or you might have a more efficient way to get to places. Very smooth. You could use public transportation. You could tell it, okay, I want to use public transportation to get to certain spots. Any suggestions there? You put in what's valuable to you, and now you get great insight on the other end. Very valuable. It's advanced compared to Google Maps because Google Maps has limitations in this category. It is good though. It's like you're not just searching, you're curating your life based on your current energy and goals. It's not just searching, you're curating what you do and where you go. As you can see, bigger takeaways for this talk. Artificial intelligence is a multiplier of mental bandwidth. If you have this much mental bandwidth, expand it out like that. But it has to be from your base. You have to already have it in place to expand upon. Whatever your filters are for the questions or your thoughts, that's what artificial intelligence can become. It is limited to as far as what you bring to it, and it can expand on that, but your base is very important. And occasionally you want to check it that maybe it's telling you material that's out of range, but for the things I've mentioned, there's not much room for it to go out of range for what you're looking for. If you're doing something very advanced, you may start to get into limitations, but everything I've just described, it's quite good for. It's not replacing your thought, it's enhancing the reach of your thought. Summaries, it does very well, and you could summarize your day, your journal, all your parts. That's not a section I have here, but it's worth keeping in mind. You can always put your life into chapters with AI. If you give it enough information, you can start to see the chapters of your life. The chapter of this year, this month, the past decade, what it means to you, where you are in that, where that can lead you, those kinds of things. A lot of perspective can come from this if used with a lot of effort and thought from within. Where in your life do you still struggle with friction? You, the listener, and could artificial intelligence help remove that friction? So it's worth looking at, where am I stuck? Where, if I had an assistant, could I get much more done? You start thinking about that. That's where it starts from. That's one place where it starts from. And now you're thinking, okay, I'm stuck there. Usually I can't get my writing going. How do I get my writing going? Or I've had this writing thought, but I haven't gotten to it. That's where it is. So then you start putting in, I want to do this writing. I have this goal. How can I get there within the next 2 months? I want to do this by then. These are my thoughts so far. How much writing can I expect to do within a 2-day period, a week-long period as I go towards that goal? You ask, and maybe it'll have information on, this is about how much you can expect This is what's important from what you're saying, the summary of what you want to write. Here's some ideas to expand on that, and you go. The important thing is your interest, your energy, and your clear-mindedness and decision making. The rest can all be adjusted and assisted to get to something that is meaningful to you along the way. That's the main topics from this one here. A future talk in this one might be about momentum or burnout. Those are popular topics. They're kind of connected on the opposite end. But those come from trying and doing. So step number 1 is trying and doing. I hope you are doing that in some regard. It's very important too. The people that are doing and making are so few compared to those who are consuming and passive. The gap is huge. Staying on this side is really valuable if you have it in you. Very small group of doers and makers, very large group of passive viewers. I saw a quote or message the other day that said, most of the people you're seeing out in public now that day have watched 2 hours of short form videos, like 5-second, 10, 20-second clips. At least 2 hours that day. So that's a lot of people that you are interacting with. A lot of consumption. So that's already happening. And it's not so energizing unless it's very carefully curated consumption, which is not common. But we'll call that active consumption. So there's a lot of passive consumption. There's a less active consumption. And then there's far less creation. So staying closer to this end, the creation end or the active end, either way, puts you in a rare place. It gives you a lot of energy. It gives you meaning, fulfillment, all the things. And then the day is run from your base versus you're running the day from some other base that is not you. These books behind me are all written through creation. They could not watch 20-second clips repeatedly in order to generate those books. It would not be doable. A lot of creation had to go into each one of those because we're talking pages and pages. We're talking research behind that, discussions with people probably along the way, information in the past, research, knowledge, putting it together, editing it, cutting parts out. A lot of back and forth to get to one of those books. And those are nonfiction, which are much less common than fiction. So we want to keep these things in mind. When you see certain items, such as those books I'm pointing to repeatedly, they take a lot to get to that point. It takes a lot because it does. And if it did not, you would see so much more casual nonfiction books being put out casually. But that's not the case. So few individuals in the nonfiction book space, or even in the book space in total, or even article writers online, special crew there as well. You set yourself apart very rapidly. Worth keeping in mind. I hope you enjoyed this talk. This one is episode 449, follow-up on AI and its uses in the current moment. We are in 2025. AI, by the way, is rapidly progressing every 2 days, day, week, 3 days. We get no shortage of updates of text processing, video making, audio generation, audio processing that AI is doing. The tools are ramping up repeatedly. The usage is ramping up rapidly. ChatGPT goes down every so often because so much usage is happening. They might also have attacks on their servers, but mostly heavy usage. I'm sure the same with Gemini and Claude and Perplexity. This usage is the demand from everybody to make use of the tool. And even of the people that are using AI, I would say a good chunk is once again not the most active, but Can you take care of this thing for me? Maybe school, people having it write their essay or things like that. So I don't know if I would count that as forward progressive use of it. So even of those using AI, you'd have to say that a smaller percentage are using it effectively in an active way. So as you can see with each of these descriptions I've brought, very few individuals are really using the tools we currently have to progress forward, make things, stay in a strong state of mind, and have clarity. So if you can lean in that direction, the advantages are very clear. This has been the Armen Show, episode number 449. We will see you on the next one, and we are out.